No, you do not need to move to another country. What you actually need is a strategy. What you need is a plan, and you can absolutely do it successfully. And that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. If you're new to my channel, my name is Paula. I grew up in Spain. My native language is Spanish, but at some point in my life, I fell in love with English. I fell in love with language learning, and so now I'm here sharing my passion with all of you, because it's just the kind of thing that I really needed. When I was in my early stages, I really needed some help, and I really needed some reassurance as well sometimes. There is a sequence that I like to think about. First, we've got immersion, and then we've got comprehension, and then we've got connection. You immerse yourself in the language and you try to comprehend, right? That's what we all do when we struggle with new words, with new grammar. We don't quite understand what's going on. And once you get better at comprehension, the next stop is connection, because it's actually quite difficult to connect if you don't comprehend. And a lot of people give up on language learning when they're still struggling with comprehension. If you don't have help, if you don't have support, you can easily give up. I always say that a lot of people underestimate how difficult learning a language is. And so the good thing is that nowadays you can immerse yourself from the comfort of your own home. So what you need is content. You need to be in touch with the language, and you need to listen to it, you need to read it a lot. Probably the most difficult thing sometimes is finding the content. What should I be listening to, right? What should I be reading? So in terms of listening, you could consume YouTube, films, series, podcasts, audiobooks as well. For reading, you could work with books, you could work with short stories, you could work with magazines. A fun fact about me is that I own more books in English than I do in Spanish or Catalan. I just got really obsessed with it. I'm the kind of person that goes to the extremes. When I really like something, I'm going to work really hard. You know, it was like new. Everything was new. There were times that I felt like that I needed that reassurance that what I was doing actually made sense long term. Now I know that everything eventually adds up. Now I know that, but I didn't then. And I was reading all of these books. I vividly remember when I read Sapiens, for example, and it was a really difficult read. All of these books that I read in English, I'm pretty sure that maybe my comprehension of them was not great. And so in terms of the knowledge, maybe I didn't acquire all of the knowledge that maybe a native would, but it was really good for my English. Listen focus is when you only listen. You only try to comprehend what's going on. And don't worry too much about the new words. Now, the other kind of practice you need to do is language focus. And here is when you are going to read and try to acquire new vocabulary, try to acquire new grammar. And it's super important that you practice a bit of both. If you only practice the more passive one, you will notice that you lack vocabulary. And if you only practice the language focus one, you will not be practicing your listening skills as much. You're learning new words, which is great, but you are focusing on small units. And it's very important that you think about the bigger picture. If you don't get good at listening to a podcast, for example, and being okay with not understanding certain words, it is going to be very bad for you long term, because you're always going to encounter new words. Try to do as many things in that target language as though you were, for example, living in that country, because you don't have to face that moment of discomfort yet because you're alone. You're doing it alone and you're doing it from the comfort of your own home. So I know it's uncomfortable to consume content and feel lost. I know exactly what it feels like. You can create your online reality in a target language and it can work for you. Personally, I've watched a lot of content in English and now it has got to a point that I do a lot of things in English on autopilot. It's automatic. For example, my meditations, I play them in English, yoga as well. So you're probably wondering about speaking, right? Because that's what people are going to say in the comments. If you move to that country, you can speak and that's how you learn, right? So what you need is you need to create opportunities for you to communicate. You need to create opportunities for you to speak. The good thing about moving abroad is that you don't need to create them for yourself. It's a reality. If you want to get things done, you need to communicate and you can feel shy, you can feel embarrassed. At the end of the day, you need to communicate. If you have opportunities to speak from your home, you can acquire a language. And so ideally, you will want to have someone you can talk to. It could be a language partner, it could be a tutor, but someone that represents this excuse. Something else I will say is when you move to another country, when you move abroad, yes, you're going to have a lot of opportunities to speak, but what you might not get is feedback. Native speakers are not going to correct you. It's very rude. We are not going to do that. I would not do it. I'm a tutor and I do corrections and I provide feedback in class, but if I met someone, I would never correct them. Think of when you talk to people, to your friends in your L1, in your native language. The flow of communication, you cannot be correcting people. It's just weird. It's not how we connect with people. And so you actually need a safe space. Okay, I'm actually running out of battery. Ideally, you want to speak with someone, but I know that not everyone has the means, and so that's why I created this video. So I will link it for you to watch it because it is very important. I do not want this to come across as that you just need to immerse yourself. You actually need to speak. It's very important and you're going to learn a lot just speaking. So if you could only take one thing away from this video, please remember that you need to immerse yourself in the language, even though it's going to be very, very uncomfortable. And then when you start connecting with the people, when you start connecting with this content, things are going to get a lot easier and you are going to really enjoy it. And learning English absolutely changed my life, and I keep saying this, and I think I've said it in all my videos, and I will make a video talking about why and explaining you guys how it changed my life, because it was transformative. It was a transformative experience for me as a person, and that's why I'm so passionate about it, and that's why I really want to make the process easy for you. It was difficult for me. There were many times that I wanted to give up, and I couldn't see the progress, and it just felt so scary because there were so many things to learn and I didn't know what I needed to learn, whether I was doing the right thing. And I wish someone had told me this. I wish someone had told me that you need to keep immersing yourself in the language, and the fact that it's difficult, it doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. It just means that it's difficult because learning a foreign language is actually a complex process. There are a lot of things going on in your brain and there are lots of skills you're working on. So it is going to be challenging sometimes and you just need to accept that. but also remember that it's going to be a beautiful experience and that it's going to change you as a person if you stick to it and you end up really connecting with the language, with the culture. Don't give up, please. Let me know what language you're learning, and if you stick around, I will see you in the next video.